The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want the weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
What I'm going to show you in this video is different than anything I have ever found in any investigation I have done to date, for multiple reasons, and you will see and hear yourself, but I will come back to that in a minute. It becomes very apparent that a subject is being covered up when you see it still being debated for like 10 years or longer. You know, some of these subjects have been debated for 20, 30, even 40 or 50 years. And a telltale sign that a subject is being covered up or hidden is the subject itself will have an absurd number of shows, podcasts, videos, or other media about it, and the title is always the subject you're trying to cover up, followed by, is it real? You know, is geoengineering real? Are voice of God weapons real? That kind of thing. And when you see something caught in the state of suspended animation or suspended debate for long periods of time, it is to keep the population denying it themselves and keeping people on the fence from coming over to the side of reality. They are waiting for the times to catch up, waiting for the technology to catch up, or waiting for a very good excuse to come into the picture. And in the subject I'm talking about in this video, that excuse is mental health, or in circles of people who realize it is there but don't want to go the mental health route, the normal excuse is demons, ghosts, aliens, or some other worn out narrative. And believe me, when I first got into this, I didn't want it to be real. My studies over the years have made me have to come to grips with things that I didn't want to. And I had to admit things that were real that I didn't want to be real. There is a certain mindset that people get, and it ultimately leads to a form of denial. And when that mindset is torn away, you can begin to understand what is actually being done right in front of your face on a daily basis. So let's get into this. So I have been working on a case that's pretty local, and the people who live there have been having some very, very strange things going on. Not your typical day-to-day stuff. And remarkably and thankfully, they did not believe it was paranormal. So I came in to check the house out. Now, when I go into a home, I'm checking everything I possibly can. You know, I check the EMF readings with the power on and the power off. I'm checking out every appliance in the home. I'm checking for bugs and other surveillance. I'm doing everything I can, but EMF alone isn't everything by a long shot. I'm checking electrical fields throughout the home. I'm checking the electrical fields from appliances. I'm checking out the people. I'm gathering information on what has happened. I'm gathering information on any physical symptoms that people in the home have endured. I'm checking out the vehicles. I'm gathering magnetic readings. I'm gathering radio frequency levels. I'm checking out the ELF in the home. I'm checking out and checking for ultrasound in the home. I'm gathering audio evidence from multiple sources and a lot of other things. Point being, I don't just walk into a home and start finding demons like all these grifters out there. Plus, you have to find out whether the home has electrical problems, if it's grounded properly, if there are problems with the wiring and the power outlets. So, you know, when you do what I do, there's a lot to do. You can't just go in and start pulling out an Ouija board, you know, and blaming it all on the paranormal. And something very extraordinary happened. Someone who lives in the home has tinnitus as well as all these strange things happening. They also have tinnitus that came on about a year ago, I guess. And we determined that this tinnitus, the tones, there are two, are between around 8,000 hertz, within the 8,000 hertz range, and within the 11,000 hertz range. And we got pretty close to matching the tinnitus tones that this person was hearing. And here is the crazy thing. I had been gathering audio evidence the entire night. Something amazing showed up in the recording. And again, thankfully, these people didn't think it was paranormal to begin with. They were using their heads. And they're very, very smart people, and I commend them for not going the route of the witch doctor. As I was examining the audio of the home, I started to notice it slowly came in, and it stayed there throughout the night. There's a distinct tone right here. It's right around 8,800 hertz, which would be 8 kilohertz or 8,000 hertz. It's in that range, right? Then there's another distinct tone that is around 11,800 hertz or 11.8 kilohertz. Odd, right? Because this person has tinnitus that is between two tones, one in the 8,000 range and one in the 11,000 range, and it matches. But that's not the crazy part. Even though that part's crazy, I've seen that before. What is so crazy about this is, look, in between the two tones, there is audio that looks like a voice in there, a very, very high voice, and it is nowhere else in the recording. And this is spectral, and you can see this in there like it's a wave file. It is bizarre. It is planted right in between those two frequencies. So I got to work on it, and I thought, I'm gonna go at this and go at this and go at this until I can get it distinct. Because a person may hear harmonics of a sound that may be lower than what the actual sound is. You can hear harmonics from ELF, for example, and you're not supposed to be able to hear ELF at all, but the harmonics can be heard, are audible from these frequencies banging into each other. So I got to work bringing this audio right here, bringing this audio down, getting rid of the tones and bringing the audio down to human speech range. I spent all night just getting to that stage, and I'm going to show you that now. But this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It is audio planted right in between two tinnitus tones. So I got to work bringing it down, and this is just one night, and I went a lot further. So this is just stage one. Again, I went a lot further, and you're going to hear how distinct this is. But here was stage one, and you could distinctly hear that they were voices talking. Let's check it out. And I want you to pay attention and remember this sound right here. That's very important. Now, I have to bring this up because people will try to bring this into the debate. This is not radio recording. I'm recording sound, mechanical sound, no antenna, just recorders in a room, and it picked this up. So what is there? What do we have here? Something very, very strange. Let's check it out. Now, I spent days on this and got just this short clip, 19 seconds, 19.5 seconds actually. I spent days on this. Let's check it out, and then I'll get deeper into it after we listen to it once.
It's making a group commandation for animations or kills or
Okay, bizarre. They're all warped. They have a strange sound to them. This is not ghosts or goblins. This is technology. It is planted in between two tinnitus tones. You can clearly see them right there. So, I really started to check out the audio and listen to it. Now remember that spot that I showed you. It's right here. That is right here. That's what it is. This is after spending days. When I tell people that something is a voice and they don't believe it, it's a voice. Let's listen to that again, the original. That's a night after bringing it down. And let's listen to it again. Very, very interesting. Now let's get into what it says. Every single one of these artificial voices within these tinnitus range frequencies sound like affirmations, or what someone would say within their head, like subvocal speech, or random ideas or thoughts. Coincidentally, they are all negative. Negative ideas and negative thoughts. And why is that? Because this is artificial. It's artificial. So let's check out the first statement. It's kind of like a cross between a male and a female voice. And there's a there's a noise there. But then it says, how do I look? How do I look? Very weird, right? That's just randomly in the ether. Let's go on to the next one. That, I'm not sure what it says, but it says something. And it's not a normal voice. This isn't somebody talking. This is like sine wave speech. When you're creating a voice out of pulses, it is pulsed communication. I'm going to keep working on this, trying to figure out things, and then I'm going to get back and do another episode on this. I can't go full on into the information about the house and everything else because that's private as of now. I was able to talk about this as long as I wasn't mentioning personal details. Let's check this out here, the next one. This is the one that I wanted you to take note of within the noise when I was bringing it down to the vocal range. Now what it says there is alliance. Alliance. It says an alliance, and it says here, gonna form. So it says gonna form an alliance, which is very strange. Now that's whispering. That's not unusual to find. I find this in recordings where there's a loud voice and then there's an equally loud voice right after it, but it's more like a whisper. But it's pulses. You can see the pulses right here. Let's get closer. Now, right there, it says, he's freaking out because me. He's freaking out because me. It's a negative affirmation set within tinnitus frequencies. This is why all the naysayers tend to vanish when you show up with evidence like this. They can't say anything about it. Now there it says, it's very weird. It says, so why am I so close? Here's why am I so close? Here's so close. Now another thing, people will come on here and try to, talk like it's a real person. They'll go, oh, you hear that accent? Sounds like a foreign accent to me. It's probably Russians, right? No, these are not real voices. They're artificial voices. They're pulsed. And when you're right down to the signal like this, they have this kind of weird accent. When they reverberate around a room or sound as though they're coming from a wall to one of these people that can hear them, they sound more human. I'm just putting out there now before the shills and the moles start showing up and saying, oh, it sounds like it's got an accent to me. Now there it says, afraid of going home. Afraid of going home. Pretty weird. All negative. All negative. But the strangest one is the very last affirmation. And it comes in and it says, all of them heard a voice. I swear to you, that's what it says, plain as day. All of them heard a voice. Now, don't you find that interesting that would show up in one of these recordings? Let's hear it. All of them heard a voice. All of them heard a voice. All of them heard a voice. All of them. 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 Heard a voice. Heard a voice. Heard a voice. Heard a voice. All of them heard a voice. All of them heard a voice. And all of this came from right here. And this is what it originally sounded like. Here, I isolated the original and boosted it up. I'm going to play it for you right here. So there's the two tinnitus tones, the artificial tinnitus tones right there and right there. And then the audio track in the middle that you can see. When this was brought down, This is what I found in it.
Anyway, the disease was it's recommendation for animations or kills or
What do you have to say about that? That is some of the best evidence out there, period. And the last affirmation saying all of them heard a voice. So when some loudmouth comes along, spewing medical jargon or mental health information or mental health narratives, you can send them to this video and show them what is going on. Also, I want to point out one thing before I go, and that is how similar this audio is to something else that I did a video on. Let's take a quick look at that before I'm out of here. When I was listening to this, it reminded me of something big time. Listen for a second. Now that reminded me, and I couldn't place it, and I was listening to it all night because I was working on it, and then it finally hit me. It sounds just like the voicemail that was left for Henry McCabe. The same kind of inflections, the same kind of, the way the words are put together. They are very, very similar in tone, inflection, speed, everything. So I decided to adjust this so it was like a voicemail. So here I EQ'd it so that it would be similar to the Henry McCabe voicemail. Let's check it out. Okay, let's go to the actual Henry McCabe clip. Let's go back to that. It's the same kind of weird inflection and delivery. It is very, very similar to the McCabe voicemail. This is one of the best pieces of evidence that I have ever caught. Two distinct artificial tinnitus tones in a recording with a message embedded in the middle that continues to ramble on and on about negative affirmations. So send people to this video. Let's get it out there, and that is it for now. Look out for Charlie.
We are one. When my boot comes down on your neck, we are one. That's right. Piano solo. Do you feel it? I feel it. It's got me by the feels. So bad, baby.